Welcome to the Deep Left. I'm Ian, and tonight I want to talk about police brutality in the United States. Police in America have always had issues with violence and corruption. Don't be fooled into thinking any of this is new or rare. Camera phones and social media are providing a first-person view into some of the disgusting behavior that is allowed and covered up within our police departments. Good thing, too, since those pesky body cams always seem to fall off or malfunction right when officers commit their worst crimes. Do they not understand the oaths they took to protect and serve? Or do they just not understand to whom that phrase refers? How is a knee on a man's neck or a hail of bullets at the wrong apartment public service? How do they justify firing tear gas canisters at people's faces, beating peaceful protesters with batons, or macing children? It's abuse of power, pure and simple. We have allowed law enforcement in this country to devolve into a protective brotherhood of violence and oppression, full of brainwashed recruits who truly believe that the authority they wield belongs to them. They believe a badge and a gun gives them the right to prey on others and the responsibility to protect others like them. There's an environment of fear around reporting the misdeeds of fellow officers because those who do speak out are ostracized, fired, or in some cases, killed. Of course, our police act out of line when there is almost no threat of repercussions, and their misdeeds are covered up by their unions and superiors. Is every cop bad? Of course not. But the system itself absolutely is. So, what needs to change in order to fix this broken system? For starters, we need to find a solution for limited immunity of law enforcement officers so that they are personally liable for damages they cause in the course of duty. As it stands, even if a civilian successfully sues a police department, the damages paid out come from public funding, our taxes. Police might think twice about pulling the trigger or putting a knee on someone's neck if their salaries and pensions were on the line. Next, we need to follow the steps that cities like Minneapolis and Seattle are taking and defund police departments, reallocating those funds towards social services. The cuts that need to be made shouldn't be coming from sexual assault or homicide units. Instead, they should be sensible reductions to programs that don't really benefit the public. Let's start with getting rid of the riot gear, the tanks, and maybe the cops with numerous complaints. Next, we need to reevaluate what we want our police forces to be doing. Are a half dozen guys with guns really the right way to respond to a psychiatric patient in need of meds? Or would a psychologist or social worker be a better solution? Should cops be spending more of their time in tactical shooting drills and MMA classes? Or should there be more of a priority on learning de-escalation techniques and law so that they have a better understanding of their own jobs and the rights of the citizens they're supposed to be protecting? The gross misconduct that we've seen occur time and time again suggests that we're not doing a good enough job of either screening or training our law enforcement officers. And that needs to change. Did you know that at last count, cops in our country only undergo about 20 weeks of training before being put on the street? It takes more time than that to become a licensed cosmetologist in my state. There are countries that train officers for over 2 years before they're sent into the field. That's got to change. While there are many other topics that need to be addressed, perhaps the most important is breaking down the systemic racism inherent in our criminal justice system. This covers everyone from police officers to public defenders, state's attorneys, and judges. The deck and the courts are stacked against our black citizens, and the unequal treatment of people of color on every level of the system is glaringly obvious. Our cops have continued to racially profile and deliberately target black citizens, committing acts of brutality and terror that can never be excused or redeemed. Some of these cops are outright neo-Nazi scum, and the KKK and other white nationalist organizations should have no place in our police departments. The rest, either consciously or unconsciously, act on racist programming that has been a part of American police culture since its inception. The police force itself is a publicly funded militia, with the goal of enforcing the rule of whoever is in charge, which has basically always been rich old white men. Some people don't believe that positive change can come from reallocating resources or defunding the police departments or changing training programs. And some even think things are going to get worse because of the changes we're trying to make. These people are trying to maintain a status quo that just isn't working. We cannot go back and unsee the death of George Floyd, or unhear that 911 call after the murder of Breonna Taylor. We can't forgive the tranquilization and murder of Elijah McClain, nor can we excuse the assaults on citizens exercising their First Amendment rights to protest, free speech, and freedom of the press. It's not right. None of it's right, and it needs to change now. Don't give up. Don't let the momentum we've built simmer down because the mainstream media stopped showing the protests that are still occurring. Do not let the powers that be fool you into thinking this is just going to go away. It's not. Period. Unless we do something, nothing is going to change. Stay strong. Keep using your voice and keep fighting. We can change this country, but not if we don't try. Agree? Disagree? Think I missed something? Let me know down in the comments. And check out the Deep Left on social media, like and subscribe for more content.